Yo, what's up, guys? Great win tonight for the Toronto Raptors, defeating the Milwaukee Bucks 122-94, guys. Man, great win today for the Raptors. Obviously the Raptors had to play this game today without Scotty Barnes. Unfortunately, Scotty Barnes hasn't been around the team for the last couple of days due to personal reasons. Hopefully everything's okay with Scotty and his personal affairs, but unfortunately, Raptors had to play a game without him tonight, guys. Scotty's obviously been very durable this season for the Raptors. Hasn't missed any time this year, barely missed any time, so really difficult to see Scotty missing a game, of course, but luckily enough, it's against a really short-handed Milwaukee Bucks. Obviously, Giannis Antetokounmpo in this game today. We also saw Jakob Poeltl starting his first game in quite some time. Colin Murray-Boyles coming off the bench today, and the Raptors did a good job tonight without Scotty Barnes. They really didn't need him in this game today. They were absolutely dominant for three quarters, guys. I think we could all agree that the first quarter, Raptors weren't very good defensively, missing a lot of shots, got outscored 27-22 in the first quarter, but my God, the Raptors shooting wolves behind the arc were continuing in the first quarter of this game. Raptors were 0 for 10 until Sandro Mamukelashvili made a three-pointer at the end of the first quarter there to finally snap the drum, but just continuous problems with this basketball team with shooting three-pointers, making open shots, just really some frustrating things in that first quarter. But then everything flipped on its head in the second quarter, guys. Raptors made like 7 3-pointers in that quarter. Emmanuel quickly was absolutely dominant in that second quarter. He was making some shots, driving the lane, making some passes, facilitating the basketball. Brandon Ingram was playing well in the first half. He had 13 points as well. Quickly finishes off the first half with 20. I think he only had like 2 in the first quarter. So he was fantastic in the second quarter. Even Mama was really good in the second quarter and in the first half with 10 points. So B.I., Quickly, and Sandro Mamukelashvili were the three guys leading the scoring for the Raptors. Those three guys combined, for, 20 from Quickly, 13 from B.I., 33, 43 points combined from those three guys alone. So those are some great numbers by those three guys. You also had some decent minutes, from RJ in the first half. Didn't have a great game in general, but had an okay first half. Yak had an okay first half. CMB had some decent minutes in the second quarter. Really good defensive minutes. Obviously didn't have any points in the first half, but the Raptors did a really good job defensively in the second quarter after having a really bad defensive first quarter. Milwaukee was really getting down low in the paint, making their shots. They were making it really difficult for the Raptors, playing a little bit of a zone at times. Defensively, the Bucks, so it was causing the Raptors trouble as we've seen this past season when the Raptors are defending a zone. So you had Turner with 11 at half. You had Porter and Thomas with 10 apiece. Cam Thomas is a guy, if I was the Raptors, I would have possibly looked at him. I know he's not very good defensively, but man, this guy does put up offensive numbers. He would have been a really good guy to add to the perimeter because, as I said, Raptors don't have a lot of perimeter shooters. So those three guys there were the main factors offensively for the Milwaukee Bucks. The Raptors shot the ball 45%. Like I mentioned, had a really solid second quarter. The Raptors had a quarter high, 38 points in the second quarter in this game today. The most points out of all 4 quarters for the Raptors. So they did a really good job in that second quarter, pushing the ball forward, making their shots, drawing fouls, driving the lane, cutting, moving the basketball around. Love the ball movement in some parts of that quarter there and in the game in general, even in the second half as well. Raptors did a great job shooting 45% from the field in the first half, 35% from three after, like I mentioned, really solid second quarter from the threes. Free throws was good, only missing 1 free throw in the first half. Rebounds, they were out rebounding them. Assists, Raptors were doing a lot of good things in that first half other than getting dominated in the paint there where Milwaukee at 24-16. But the Raptors continued to do what they did in the second quarter, in the second half in general, guys. Continue to push the ball on the fast break, move the basketball, make your shots, get stops on defense. Raptors did a really good job defensively on the Bucks in the second half. Really made it difficult for the Bucks to get points in the paint, even shots in general. Raptors perimeter D did get a lot better. Same with their down low paint protection there. So really good job by the Raptors, guys, to make adjustments after that really bad first quarter. Did a really good job in the second half. And in the second quarter, Quickly was fantastic in this game, especially in the second half. A very efficient game for Emmanuel Quickly, finishing off with 32 points, 11 of 19 from the field. Great game for Emmanuel Quickly, adding 9 assists as well and 3 rebounds. And Quickly has games like this. He's just a dangerous player for the Raptors, and adds another dynamic piece to this team. When he's missing shots, it just takes him away from his game, and then it's just making teams' defenses easier to defend the Raptors because they know he's going to miss shots. So when he's making his shots, makes other teams struggle on defense because you have another weapon on there, when Scotty and Brandon Ingram are playing well. So quickly plays games like this. He's going to be an extra added piece for this team down the stretch, of course. Now, B.I. has a solid game as well, 22 points, 8 of 17 shooting with 6 assists as well. Not his best game, but a really solid game for Brandon Ingram as well, guys. Sandro finishes up with 15, only having 5 in the second half. Really solid first half from him. Not the best second half, but listen, you got some solid minutes from Sandro off the bench with 15 points. He's been really solid off the bench. Even before All-Star break, was averaging like 17 points before All-Star break. Continues to do that post-All-Star break. Really love what Sandro's giving this team off the bench, guys. And then Jamal Shead had a really good offensive output today. Only having 12.6 rebounds, 6 assists on 4-9 shooting. This is what we want from Jamal Shead. He doesn't have to light the world on fire with points. But if you get 10-plus points again, you add 6 assists or 6 rebounds. You add the pesky defense that he has. Obviously, he's one of the best guys in the league to draw charges. So if you can get some offensive output from Jamal Shead like this, 10 to 12 points a game, that's fantastic. When he's only getting like 2 points or 4 points, on maybe 4 on 12 shooting, that shit pisses me off. Because I know Jamal Shead's a good player. He can make his shots, and today proved it. He was really solid today, Jamal Shead. Really good offensively for the Raptors and does great things on defense, like I mentioned, and he's a great facilitator of the basketball. So love what I'm seeing from Jamal Shead in this game today. Such a bright young player, and I love what he gives this team. If he could just add a little bit of offense to his repertoire, I think the Raptors will have a really solid piece with this kid moving forward. And then you have Murray Boyles that finishes off with 8. Grady Dick again, another bad game. 16 minutes, 4 points. Grady missed another wide open 3. He's got to make these bloody shots. He is a shooter. He's supposed to be a shooter. And when you miss wide open shots like he did in the second quarter, that shit drives me nuts. I love Grady Dick. I think he's a nice young player, but man, oh man, he's had a really frustrating year to say the least, guys. Really frustrating. RJ had a bad game as well, like I said. Only having 7 points on 2 of 10 shooting. I really expected RJ, to step up today with those Scotty not being in the lineup today. I really thought RJ was going to have a better game. Not good enough by RJ Barrett. Really needs to be better down the stretch of this season, guys, or else he possibly could be getting traded in the offseason. I know he does not want to get traded from home, but man, oh man, he needs to be better if you guys ask me. And then after Jakob starting today was great to see. Like I mentioned, only playing 25 minutes, still on a minutes restriction, 6 points, 8 rebounds. But listen, Jakob Poeltl, he's a really big body, really helps the Raptors on their pick and roll offense. Is obviously the big body down low in the paint there to get the offensive rebounds. Get your points, obviously, there down low in the poster. Get your defensive rebounds as well. Obviously a protector of the rim. So good to see Jakob back. Not the best game today. Not that productive. 3 or 4 from the field, though. It's not horrendous, but glad to see he's slowly, gradually getting back into game shape, and that's what we want to see, Jakob Poeltl getting back to game shape before the playoffs, of course, guys. But then Davis and Temple played a couple minutes. Battle only played 8 minutes, guys. So really solid production from the bench. The Raptors bench did a great job in that third quarter, outscoring Milwaukee's bench 11-0. So really good job by the Raptors bench there, doing a really solid job outscoring Milwaukee's bench. Milwaukee's bench didn't get very much there other than Cam Thomas, who had 15 points off the bench, guys. Rollins and Porter had 21 each. Turner had 14, had a really quiet second half because the Raptors did a great job neutralizing him in the second half, guys. And other than that, Bobby Portis was quiet. Kuzma was quiet, guys. Green was quiet today. So some really quiet games from certain players, but obviously without Giannis in the lineup, Milwaukee was going to struggle in this game today. The Raptors are just, I think, the better team right now, obviously, without Giannis in the lineup. Of course, Milwaukee's struggling a little bit, even though they had just won 3 in a row. The Raptors went in there, got the job done without Giannis, even without Scotty. It's a really good win for the Raptors, finishing off the game with 47% from the field. That's really good efficiency. 35% from 3. Obviously not the best compared to the first half, guys. Free throws dropped a bit to 78%. Always want to see it between 85 and 90% if you ask me. Rebounds, Milwaukee got a couple more, but not too much. Offensive rebounds, we did a good job. Had 1 more. Assists, 34 assists, guys, on 44 field goals made. That is fantastic. Like I mentioned, the Raptors did a great job moving the basketball, facilitating it, with the cuts, setting screens for each other. Really loved that the basketball was moved around today by the Raptors, guys. 11 steals as well. That's a credit to the great defense that the Raptors had today. 3 blocks. Raptors only having 8 turnovers, and Milwaukee had 19. Another solid job today by the Raptors, forcing turnovers on the Bucks. 46 points in the paint to Milwaukee's 42, so we did a lot of better things down low in the paint there, guys. 21 second chance points compared to Milwaukee's 11. Raptors were getting second chance opportunities as well, getting those offensive rebounds, like I mentioned, having 14 of those, so really solid job by the Raptors, and 27 points off turnovers, guys, and 15 fast break points. Well, what can I say about this game today? It was a solid performance today by the Raptors, a solid 3 quarters by them today, guys. A really good win for them. You know, you're coming home for 2 games against 2 of the top teams in the Western Conference. You're playing the defending NBA champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, and then you play the San Antonio Spurs on the second night of a back-to-back. So 2 really difficult games for the Raptors coming up. Solid win tonight without Scotty Barnes. Hopefully Scotty's back for the next game on Tuesday night, guys. Really solid win for the Raptors. Their 18th win on the road this season. 12 games over 500. Things have been going really well for the Raptors, guys. Let's see how they do in these next 2 games, because we obviously know Raptors have some difficulties against top 10 teams in the NBA this year. Let's see how they perform in these next 2 games against the Thunder and Spurs at home court, you know, because at home court against top teams, Raptors have had some difficulties at times, guys, if you ask me. But solid win tonight for the Raptors, led by Emmanuel Quickly, guys, and Brandon Ingram. Love to hear your thoughts and opinions on this game today, guys. Like this video. Subscribe if you guys want to see more content. Go Raptors, go as always, guys. We'll see you guys on the next episode of Raptors Unfiltered. Ciao, guys.